Everybody, welcome to the Recoverysupps podcast. Appreciate you for checking it out. I'm here with my buddy John Whitney, good longtime friend of mine, and we're going to knock out this podcast. So, John, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm John. I've been sober for a bit. Loving it. It's not what I thought it would be, but it is something.
Yeah, me and John met in the rooms of AA. I was there a little bit before him, and I remember showing him some of the book, and we'll let him tell his story, but that's how we met. So John, what's the best thing that's happened to you since you've gotten sober?
Oh, I've turned a lot of things around. I'm more accountable for all my things. I've taken way more responsibility. During my active addiction, I was living life like a child, letting everybody else take care of me, and if something went wrong, it was easy to blame it on somebody else.
Right.
So, yeah, it's something I'm learning how to live by myself.
Yeah.
No one else is around to do it for me. So.
Right. Do you mind filling everyone in on kind of what happened, or?
Yeah, I don't mind one bit. So I like to smoke and drink and all that, and it was taking a toll on my family and my marriage. So it was time for me to change things around, and I tried to quit many times.
Like we all have, right?
Yeah, and I just never could do it. So I decided that it was time to get some help. So I walked into them rooms and found the help I needed. I wasn't able to save my marriage, but I was able to save myself.
Right. But what was interesting about your story about how you got in is when you came into the rooms, I tried to help you save your marriage. I pointed you to the section about what is it, to wives?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, there's stuff in here about that.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that work out?
It worked out for a little bit, but I guess sometimes the damage is done so deep that there's nothing you can do about it except for change your own life around. If somebody wants to carry around anger towards you for the rest of their life, there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
Kind of like the serenity prayer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the courage to change the things that I thought I could change, but I couldn't change it. But I changed my life around at the same time while I was trying to change that particular part of my life.
Right, and then she just couldn't handle the new you, or what happened?
Well, once I started setting boundaries down,
right,
and I told her all the wrongs that I've done to her, and she couldn't handle it. It was too much for her to bear, and that's on me.
Oh, you think it's on you?
Oh yeah, that's well, some things are not forgivable.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure.
Like stepping out on her.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't blame her for that. I don't blame her for anything really.
Wow. So how have relationships changed since you've gotten sober?
Oh, I've got way better connection with people that are still wanting to be in my life. It's like a better bond than I've really had with anybody my whole entire life, because I started using it at a young age. I was like 13 years old.
Oh wow.
So they say that the age that you start to use and abuse drugs and alcohol, your ability to comprehend and cope with problems stays at that age.
Right.
So
that's why they have the term emotional sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And how they get that basically starts at the point at which you use. It's kind of your emotional state and your emotional knowledge is at that age.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm a 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Emotionally. Cheers to that, brother.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think there is something to that, but I don't think that it necessarily is the same throughout your whole life. And
Oh no.
there's but there is something to it. I just not sure.
Yeah. I guess, we've lived it, so we kind of have an idea of what the something is to it.
Yeah.
It's amazing how fast you can mature when you start realizing the damage you've done and trying to make an amends to it and trying to turn things around.
Yeah. So the steps, right?
Yeah, the steps definitely have helped me tremendously, and I don't think I'd be alive today if I never sobered up.
How many times have you worked through the steps?
Oh, I don't know. I've lost count.
It was the first time you did it. You did it as a completion, or no?
Well, I kind of half-assed it the very first time. I'd
Sure.
start going through and then realize that I missed something in like on a step 4 and then a step 5.
Right.
Going back, and still to this day, it's kind of like when you're putting stuff in a room and it's a mess and you keep tucking it back in there and tucking it back in there, and then you start to clean it, and then you pick up a pile of crap, and then you look there and you're like, oh my God, I forgot all about that, because you stuffed it into the back of your brain for so long.
Right. Right.
So yeah, so there's always something new that comes up for me.
So your main source of strength of when you got clean was the big book, right?
Oh yeah, the big book.
Big book still is today?
Still is today, and God.
And God.
God
right?
is the biggest source
Right.
for me. I talk to him every day, several times a day. I'll be cruising down the road and act like he's a passenger in my passenger seat.
Nice.
Just like I'm talking to you, like a buddy.
Yeah, that's your relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
He's not this supreme deity that you should be fearful of.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's just a buddy.
I used to think of him as being punishing. He's not punishing. We punish ourselves.
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I found myself back in my early recovery, and while I was still in my heavy use, only talking to God when I really needed him.
Right, like that Jelly Roll song?
Yeah. Just like that Jelly Roll song.
Shout out to Jelly Roll.
Awesome guy.
Yeah. Speaking of Jelly Roll, he is the voice of recovery right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The song Winning Streak is basically like him going to an AA meeting.
Yeah.
Meeting some guy that's 20 years sober,
Mm-hmm.
and it changes his life.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Jelly Roll drinks and smokes,
Mm-hmm.
which is your DOC and my DOC. Right?
Right.
So how is he able to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Why is recovery so different for everybody?
Well,
What is your take on that?
we're all different people. We all have a different way of doing things. Doesn't mean it's wrong, doesn't mean it's right, but as long as it gets it done, as long as you come to the same thing, it doesn't matter if you take this path over here or this path over here, just go straight down the middle. As long as you come to a conclusion of what's going on with you and being able to see your own flaws, face your own demons, no matter how long it takes you or which path you have to take doing it, as long as you come to that light right there that,
Yeah.
that you're working for, is that light.
Right. So, Jelly Roll songs are a lot of, he talks about God in a lot of his songs. And he's even got some religious spins to his music.
Oh yeah.
And like how he's, sweating in an old church basement,
Yeah.
And even in the song that he needs a favor, the next line is that who am I to expect a savior?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So would you consider yourself a fan? Like he's a Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider yourself the fact that you could be Christian, or would you say that you're not religious at all?
Oh, I'm a Christian. That's for sure. I believe in morals, and right is right and wrong is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I believe that, I still do wrong sometimes. But then I recognize that wrong, and I take the steps necessary to change that wrong around, so I don't do it again. I'm 100% religious. I don't think I'd be alive today, like I says, if it weren't for God and this program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but AA is not a religious program.
It is kind of to a point where it talks about God or a higher power. For me, it is.
So, because a lot of people would be upset by that.
Oh, sure.
You know what I
That's
mean?
okay.
Right.
That's how I look at it. You can look at it however you want. That's your path over here, and this is my path over here. I'm seeing it as religion, and some people will see it as not religion, and that's okay.
Did you grow up religious?
Yeah, I was raised in the LDS church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I hated it.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't that I actually hated the part where, they were teaching you about God or anything. It was the fact that I've always had a problem with being forced to do things. Like when you're forced to go to church and you want a day off.
Yeah.
And then you get a guilt trip put on you because you're not going to church. You're going to go to hell because you're not going to church.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't get along with authority very good.
Yeah.
And I always thought
That makes a lot of sense, John, to me.
yeah. Yeah. Authority just always drove me nuts on that. It's like, it's my life. Let me figure it out myself. Don't tell me how to live.
Right. So what was the craziest moment in your sobriety that happened to you once you got sober? So like, when you got sober, did you just like lose all your friends like I did?
Oh, I lost a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Like, you think that they're all your buddies and shit, like you're all fucked up and sloshed, and you see it at every party and shit. They come up, oh, I love you, man.
I'm
you
sure
don't
you
wanna
were the
do
life of the
anything."
party, John.
Oh yeah. But then once you get sober, they don't want nothing to do with you anymore because you don't want to partake in that particular lifestyle anymore. So They never invite you to go do anything anymore because you don't drink or you don't use drugs or
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I've actually been judged even more
Mm-hmm.
since I've gotten clean.
Oh yeah.
And maybe it's just the fact that like I can like sense it now,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was in active addiction, I was just, you know, it wouldn't. I feel like I just fit in more,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and into society and into things like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, yeah, I truly believe that if people in recovery are the outcasts of society.
Oh yeah.
And it's really interesting.
It is interesting when that, especially when that's what you build your whole life around. That's kind of your way of identifying. You know, like John Whitney, he likes to get fucked up and you know tell jokes and make everybody laugh around the campfire while we're all getting sloshed, and then you change, you get sober, and you're not quite as willing to put yourself out there and make yourself look like such a big damn fool anymore, you know.
So in your sobriety, have you had a vice?
A vice?
Like have you, like when I got clean, I started smoking nicotine.
Oh yeah, I smoked cigarettes
Like,
before, but I think I
yeah.
smoke more cigarettes now. And,
Yeah.
well, maybe I don't, but I still have my coffee and I have my cigarettes. When I get home from work, I used to like to pop open a beer or grab whiskey, or now I go and grab some iced tea.
Nice.
So I drink a tea because I like to have that drink in my hand.
Yeah.
Still to this day, I like to pour myself an iced tea when I get home.
Nice. That's cool.
So it's still there, the muscle memory.
To crack a cold one.
Yeah, to crack a cold one. So it's a tea. I have a tea.
So what advice would you give to somebody who's considering sobriety but isn't quite ready to jump into it?
What advice? Considering it, not ready to jump into it.
What would you tell yourself?
Tell myself that
You know.
knock it the fuck off, John. What the hell's the matter with you? You want to lose everything and everyone? What I
It's
would,
hard. I don't know what I would tell myself. I
yeah,
don't think there was any. This is why I also believe that it's God willing, because there was it had to have been divine intervention.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
There's no other. I've tried quitting all the time,
mm-hmm.
you know, and there was no other way to do it. So
No, I'd say it's worth it. Definitely, if you're considering sobriety, look into it. Just go check out a couple of meetings and see what you think about it.
right.
And if you don't like it, don't go back. If you like it, you feel welcome, and put yourself out there. Get yourself out of that comfort zone. That's one thing about using and abusing is if I didn't like the way I felt, man, I could just go and suppress that feeling with alcohol and drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was easy to do, you know, get myself obliterated, and then I could sleep at night too. The first part of my sobriety, I didn't sleep. I could not sleep, wouldn't sleep. I'd try to sleep, and all them demons would just keep festering to the top. All the things I've done, and it was almost too much to bear when I had to actually face myself.
Wow.
So it does get better the more you work the program, and gets better every day after that. It's not a walk in the park though. You got to work it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, but it's damn sure worth it.
Was there like a specific day? A lot of people think the 30-day mark, 60-day mark is like a chemical change in your brain. That makes you think differently.
I'd say
when you're not,
it probably took me about a year.
Wow.
To start actually kind of calming down and seeing what was going on, to kind of start changing things around a little more. I always procrastinated on that. But once I got down to it, to the brass tacks of everything started to come into play, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. So John, how long were you, since you were 13, so that's a long time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what did you think about people who were sober when you were drinking all these years? Did you think it was, did you know it was wrong?
People I thought, with people that would sober up, it was like, yeah, they'll be back. They'll be back. They're gonna come back. They'll come back to the flock. They're gonna be over here shooting whiskey with me. They ain't gonna stay sober. I'm gonna tempt them too. I'm gonna bring them back over to me, is what I used to say. Oh, come on over, just have a whiskey. And that was wrong with me.
Kind of tempted them.
Yeah, because when you're smoking pot, you don't want to smoke pot alone. You want somebody to sit and laugh with.
Yeah.
So kind of like when you're drinking, I used to drink alone all the time anyway, but that was a lot funner when you have people around to get fucked up with you and act stupid. It's amazing.
So this is a funny one. What's the most I'm sober now thing you've done that would have made your past self laugh? Like, is there anything
that would have made my past self laugh?
Yeah, like are you sober now? Like, you're so sober that your past self wouldn't have believed you.
Oh boy, that's a hard one. Oh, well, you're paying your own bills now. You ain't giving it all to someone else to take care of. You're living by yourself. Just you and the dog. I would have never believed that when I was drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think your relationship was kind of codependent?
Oh, yeah. It was very codependent. Extremely.
Just like, yeah. Interesting, because you had been using since you were 13, so that whole time you were in the relationship.
Yeah, I've always.
You were using.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get clean. All these life changes start happening for you.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All these life changes start happening for you. You start learning tools.
Yeah.
Boundaries, emotional sobriety, things like that we've talked about, that have helped you get and stay clean.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to stay clean now. I don't have no one else to fall back on to.
No, they're always waiting for you.
Yeah, they're waiting for me.
No, like I said, I truly believe this, that doesn't matter how far we go on the road to sobriety, we're still 5 feet away from the ditch.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, it's so easy to go back
Out
into
there
how
doing push-ups. There's all those analogies,
So easy to go back into the way how I used to be. It'd be comforting actually, kind of, because that's what I, was accustomed to. It felt like home being that way. This, I'm getting out of that comfort zone, being sober, and actually putting myself out there. It's almost foreign to me, but it's an adventure at the same time, you know.
Right.
I look at every day, what's this day gonna bring? What kind of adventures am I gonna run into?
So it's amazing to me how, you know, you got all these terrible things happening, especially with your immediate family. But your sobriety is your rock.
Yeah.
Would you trade it? Would you go back and say, even though you're fully identifying, like your identity is kind of sober,
Mm-hmm.
would you trade it back for drinking and using again?
Oh, hell no. I would never go back to drinking and using again. This is my last time of quitting. If I go back, I'd never come back to sobriety ever again. It'd probably end up killing me. It'd take me off this planet sooner than I'm supposed to. I think that God got me sober because there's people out there that I have not helped yet or done something for. I'm here for a reason. And what that reason is I'm not sure. But he shows me every day something new that I can do for somebody. See, the problem is with me now is that I'm sober, I can feel other people's feelings. I feel when they're sad, when they're mad, when they're happy too. I can pick up on that energy. It's amazing. You just walk by somebody and just be like, oh, hey, you know, kind of brighten up their day a little bit when they're having a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Sit there and talk to them and actually genuinely listen to their story. You know, I never listened. I never cared before when I was using. I was like, yeah, whatever, blah, 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 blah. You're just a complainer. And it helps to have somebody to sit down and listen to you. Even if they can't do anything about it. Just somebody to understand.
Right. It kind of can help relate.
Yeah.
And bring things, you know, talk rationally with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's amazing where things can go.
Well, yeah, because like we've both done that with each other probably.
Oh yeah.
Where we call each other, hey, this is where my head's at, this is where my head's at, you know?
Yeah.
And we just hash it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it just ends up working out pretty good for
Oh,
us.
it's amazing.
So.
Yeah, having that support.
Yeah. No, I truly value you as your friend, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you too, Carl. I love the hell out of you, man.
Yeah, so, I truly think that God got you sober when he did for a reason. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's someone here on this podcast listening to your story.
It could be. You never know.
You know, maybe it's a sponsee.
Yeah.
Maybe it's someone at a meeting. You know, those are all opportunities to impact people's lives. And it's beautiful.
It is a beautiful thing. It's amazing.
So I think with that we'll try to wrap it up.
All right.
Do you have anything else to say to the people?
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you're going through so much as your attitude towards it that counts the most. That's all I got. Attitude.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy.
Fake it till you make it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Check out the links in the description if you want to learn anything more about what we're doing here in Cache Valley. And thanks for listening to the Recoverysupps podcast. Peace.
Peace out.
Nice.